Excellent. Now I'm recording us both, so we're just going to go.
Okay, great. Oh, so we're both on at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, what they can do with modern technology.
That way, I'll have to do my nodding faces and do. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've got a very good nodding face. And the dog is currently asleep. Although we've got builders out the back, it's all going on. But I am ready.
You're armed with the corkscrew.
Yes. Do you remember this one?
Oh, I do remember that one.
Yeah, it's quite speckled and it's been bashed around a bit and used.
Yes.
Mostly this end, but obviously occasionally it's been used to take off.
Have you been enjoying wine?
Beer or two.
Have you been enjoying wine during lockdown?
Who hasn't? Joe, I mean, it's sort of, I wouldn't say it got out of hand, but I think at the beginning we really were just living life like you were on a French holiday somewhere. And then we had to, you keep having to sort of claw it back to, no, that's just actually not. And now the kids have gone back to school. So the holidays are definitely very much over.
Right,
but,
open up your first
it's been a fabulous opportunity. Oh, yes.
Get open. We can talk about this. So I'll tell everybody whilst you open it up. This is Schloss Johannisberg 2019 Riesling Trocken.
I can't hear Riesling without thinking of Matthew.
I know he wasn't a fan.
He's not a fan of the old. It's just because it's sweet. It goes sweet, and anything like that. He's not a sweet man.
He's not a sweet man, not at all. Oh, crikey, you're hacking away like no tomorrow.
Come on, I mean, I know I should be trying to take it off, but I'm so hot in this house. My wife's had the heating on. She's had a little coffee morning, socially distanced in the kitchen, and that was very nice to see her friends Kate and Bernie. But they did put the heating on, and now that does something as an Aries. That does something to my temperature.
You need a drink
and my humour. Yes. But I quite like it. I don't mind a Riesling. For me, I prefer to have it with some food. I know that you probably think that's sacrilegious. But I think people who don't like it, if they had it with something else going on in their mouth at the same time, it might... What a sound. It might balance it out for them a wee bit. See, my father used to drink a lot of Riesling.
Did he?
Yeah, German Riesling. I absolutely loved it.
This is your introduction into the world of wine, though. I mean, you didn't come to the wine show as a Venus virgin by a long chalk.
Well, no, I didn't. No, I thought I should put in a few hours. I mean, it wasn't something that he took us aside and went, ha. I mean, he was a geologist, so I knew about periglacial fluviogeomorphology from a very young age. I could have sat my A-levels probably at the age of 13, and I would have done fine on the physical side of geography. Now, when it comes to wine, he wasn't going, this is a German Riesling, and you come from this particular place in the world, and you're like, it wasn't. It was just like, go out down your neck. What do you think? And you'd be like, I quite like it. And actually, as a kid, I think considering I had a sweeter tooth probably back then than I do now, I actually went towards something like a Riesling. I quite enjoyed it. I probably would have had a Liebfraumilch put in front of me at some point. Not necessarily a Blue Nun, although there was a bottle of Blue Nun being used as something to put rulers in that, or something like, or pencils in. Was it Blue Nun? Anyway, lost in the sands of time. Can I try him?
Yeah, try it, because you're going to be surprised.
Well, a lovely colour. It's a beautiful sort of straw colour, isn't it?
You remember all the bits I taught you.
Wow, that's not sweet at all. At all. It's quite tart, actually. Really is. Oh, what would that go well with?
You know what goes really well with everything. Pork and German Riesling's amazing. You know when you get those.
Wow, yeah, I could get that. Pork that would unlock a bit of that fatty nature of the pork. My wife's gone off pork recently, and that's not a euphemism for anything. But I mean, honestly, she doesn't like it. And actually, I cooked a fabulous bit of pork the other day. It was really moist and tender. Took the cracking off, did it separately.
Yeah.
And it made me remember the sort of the pork roast my mother had done in my youth. There we go.
I like to do it with caraway seeds across the top.
I bet you do. Yeah.
Nice. It says on it Trocken. That's the clue, which is German for dry. It's Trocken. So it's a dry Riesling. Do you know why I chose this one?
I quite like it though, Joe.
Do you know why I chose this one particularly? This is one of the wines that Matthew Clairmont has in his cellar.
Get out, really?
Yeah, in fact, all the wines Matthew Clairmont has in his cellar. Not necessarily exactly the same. I think I was looking up.
The vintage is a bit different. Yeah.
Deborah Harkness has written this cellar, and I think it's a 19th century one, but it's from Schloss Johannisberg, where we film in series 3.
Series 3?
Yes, and you missed out
Look,
because...
I missed out in so many ways, but look at you, you're a weaver.
I am a weaver.
Story here, aren't you? I love it.
Once the army headquarters stop flying over us. Here we go.
What have you got near you?
Chinooks. I don't know, but we get Apaches twice a day.
Oh, nice.
No.
A fine helicopter. A bit of a rumble.
It is quite a rumble. And then once at Berry Brothers, I met this guy, and he flies over a lot. He's an Apache pilot. And he couldn't tell me his name, but he's the only first person outside the Royal Air Force to win the Air Force Cross for flying an Apache in a Special Forces mission. And I then rang a friend of mine who's in Special Forces, and he said, "Oh yeah, I can tell you about the mission. He can't." And he saved these guys.
Wasn't it Jimmy P? Jimmy P's got a friend who flew into his kid's school. He flies one of the, not a Sea King, he flies the newer version of the Sea King, a massive, great helicopter. And his name is Commander Bond. Which is just fantastic for him to be able to. Kids, we've got a guest today. What's your name? Commander Bond. I mean, doesn't get any better than that. Hang on, I've just accidentally. I'm watching the biography or whatever of Tiger Woods called Back, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Good title. Right, you can ask me what the German wine queen's name is again.
Carolyn Kloeckner. You should know her.
You have to ask me, otherwise it'll look.
I have to ask you. Oh, I think it's better to have all people. People want to see the mistakes, Joe.
Right.
I'll ask you. Fine. What was that German wine queen that you met?
So you're now asking me the question that I forgot before, which was what the German wine queen's name. She's called Carolyn Kloeckner. And
do you want any more attempts at it? Are you happy with that one? Should we just go with that one?
Happy with that.
Carolyn Kloeckner.
Carolyn Kloeckner. You like the wine though, don't you?
I do. I'm really impressed with it actually, because it's not as fruity as I thought it was going to be, Joe. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was going to be wallop, fruit, Riesling, boom, boom, boom. But actually, it's perfect in its own weird and wonderful way. I could drink a lot of that. Whereas I get put off by a too flowery a Riesling, it's really fruity. But yeah, no, what a lovely start. My wife wouldn't like that.
Really?
Wouldn't know what to make of it. She would. She just wouldn't like. It's just not her thing, which is totally fine, totally viable. And that's okay because she's really not drinking anything other than rosé at the moment.
But Matthew Clairmont is a great wine collector, isn't he? In the books.
Yeah, I think. Ultimately, they're very wealthy beings, and they can't get drunk on red wine, and depending on which family you were involved in, some like wine more than the others. And it's certainly said within the books that the Clairmont family like their wine. Although Matthew, not so much in season 2 in the books. But yeah, he has obviously a very discerning taste in cellar. And I think he likes a lot of claret. And who can blame him?
There's a lot of
French, particularly.
He also... There's a bit in there. We should be able to find him because I saw in the cellar that he has a bottle of Domaine de la Romanée Conti 1945.
Which would be worth a pretty penny now.
It's worth about $500,000 was what they sold for.
Oh my God! I would have thought that would have passed its peak.
Well, there's a guy you can ask. It was about a year ago, 18 months
ago.
I'm
asking you. I don't want to go to someone else. Go on.
There were 2 of them came up for sale. Now, we know that there were only 6. 2 of them came up for sale. One was just north of $500,000. One was just south. We know that the one that was more than $500,000 was drunk within a couple of months. So there are, at most, only 5 bottles of that left in the world. One of them presumably belonging to Matthew Clairmont, fictionally.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Tucked away, ready for the rap party, and I'll drink it in the car between Cardiff and home. I won't even decant it.
I tell you who else is a big wine fan, and he's a great friend.
Tell me.
Greg McHugh.
Greg McHugh, yes.
Hamish Osborne.
He's a lovely boy, Greg. I look forward to. I didn't see him in season 2 because I think he must have come back at some point to ferret his way into the cast. But obviously, I've jumped back into the past, and my character rather has jumped. Whatever, I've jumped back into the past with Teresa playing Diana. And so so we're living these separate lives. So when season 3, we will be coming back to the future, and I shall be reunited with Greg McHugh, who is a very, very decent human being indeed. I didn't realise he was a huge wine buff.
He is. He's a very keen wine buff, and he's one of a small group of wine buff sort of actors and friends where I get regular text messages saying, "What should I drink?
What should I pair this with?
Yeah, what should I have now?
Just a sofa."
And I'm there, and I was once it was when I was working at Berry Brothers and Rodd, and they said there's a gentleman downstairs to see you, and so I came down into the shop, and there was Greg. So we went to
around the
cellars, yeah.
Well, let's not speak about Berry Brothers and Rodd any longer.
We have to, because the next wine comes from Berry Brothers and Rodd.
Oh, God, it does. I meant that as far as the fact that you're no longer working with them, Joe.
I don't no longer work.
That's okay. We shall move forward past that because you're now working in a very much more interesting arena, working with Russ Lindsay.
Here in my attic for much of the
time. I know, you can do it from home.
I know, it's absolutely amazing. With ready access to my Matthew Good hat, where I don't look,
I love that
I
hat.
just look like a schlemiel when I put a hat on.
No, you look really good in that.
Thanks.
Whose is that? So you got that one from where?
This is my great uncle's, and it's
really good.
A genuine Royal Stetson.
Get out of town. I love a Stetson. That looks remarkably good. It's a nice colour. It's like a charcoal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wear it.
You've got to wear it. You've got to wear that more. Did you wear that one? That's the one you wore in New York?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks great. I love that stuff with you, Reese. It really made me chuckle.
Honestly, it was an absolute hoot going around with him. And there was really strange bits. I mean, sometimes these things come out sort of later on, and you know what it's like when you go away, you film stuff, and then you don't get to give everybody all the bizarre things that come out. We'd filmed, we'd had this great day, we trundled around. We had the most amazing foods. It was great because we went to...
That Mexican place looked incredible. I was like, I was salivating. I was like, oh. And also, I haven't seen Reese in the flesh for like 4 years or something ridiculous. And I'm pretty over that now. I was quite jealous and a little bit sad.
Well, I hadn't seen him in a bit, and we went there, and I remember we got into some trouble. As you'll know, Melanie, executive producer, likes to keep a weather eye on things, and she found us in the bar drinking tequila and eating grasshoppers.
Oh, wow. Crunchy.
They were crunchy.
They're meant to be quite nice grasshoppers, actually.
They were really nice. They were sort of spiced.
Yeah,
spicy salt on them. Delicious.
I wonder if you can eat locust.
Yes, you can, and they're very
good.
The
real problem with locusts at the moment. There's a blooming great swarm of them heading around Africa recently. There's swarms of literally billions of them. And I was thinking, if you just had a net and happen to have some boiling oil to throw them in, could be great. Send out a load of English football fans, and cases of lager and locusts, and we can get that taken down.
Bring it all together. Easy. Corkscrew out.
Yes.
You need to open this fella here.
What have I done with it? Just talk amongst yourself.
Talk amongst myself whilst you find your corkscrew.
Okay. Well, we say bon voyage or whatever the Germans say. What's goodbye in German again?
Yeah, we hope so. That was part of the reason we went to tell the story, because it was insanely popular under the reign of Queen Victoria. And she was the sort of first German wine influencer, which is kind of why we had the German wine queen, because she's an influencer and she influences people. And we went to visit a prince as well, Prince von Hessen, who was very lovely and charming. And I had to check out in Debrett's how you talked Königin Hochheit. And
I beg your pardon.
And I bowed. I did a
sort of with your head. Ah! Stop!
Ow! It was lovely.
So I think we're on the Pinot.
Yeah.
Why don't they should? They should. It's a trip that's worth taking for sure. And there's a plethora of different types. You've only given us one.
Yeah.
So here we go with Berry Brothers and Pinot, Santa Barbara County, California. Oh, Joe, do they have to put this through a machine to get the alcohol down? As it's 13.5%.
Because this is...
they don't have to quash it?
By a man called Jim Clendenin. And he has a wine called Au Bon Climat, and funnily enough, Au
We're
Bon
just
Climat
making it
Pinot
up.
Noir is in Matthew Clairmont's cellar.
Oh, God, he's got a good taste. I tell you what, mate. Now, listen, why is it that all great wine buffs think that Pinot is the greatest thing that's ever happened to them? And then idiots like me just go, I really like the colour. And I love the fact that you can buy a bottle of Dominguez or Romney Conti for 12.5 grand or whatever it is. But it doesn't tickle me in the same way, although I haven't tried it yet. I'm going straight into it.
Whilst you go in, I know your palate, and you're quite vigorous and firm, and you like quite a bit of weight.
Very much. Tell my wife that.
You like some heft in your wines.
That's nice, because that's not like a light. This is, you've done well. Good old Clairmont knows what he's talking about.
He really does. He really does. Jim's mad. He has kind of long hair. He's getting on a bit now, and he was one of the early people, because this is further south. This is between San Francisco and Los Angeles. It's where we went to in series 2 with, you remember Gina Yashery?
I do remember Gina Yashery. She had one hell of a set of taste buds.
She did.
She basically she wanted wine as like a lemonade, effectively.
She did. She wanted it like Sprite. So that's why I chose this, because it was from series 2.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's really, it's got a little. It feels slightly stronger, but bearing in mind I haven't had lunch yet. It feels slightly stronger than the 13.5 that it is. And I know I always get carried away with percentages, but I'm just saying that's how it feels. And it's got a lovely warming quality, quite a lot of length on it.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about you.
It smells very fruity. I'd need help with you'd have to do your thing, and then I go, oh yeah, it's right, apricots, yeah. I can't taste what that is.
But curiously, the one thing it really tastes of is a fruit it was in series 1. It's Yang Mei or wolfberry.
Oh, okay.
But we don't tend to see Yang Mei very often. It was the Chinese sommelier, Yang Lu, and he said, he gave me some fruit to taste, and he said, what does that taste of? And I said, I can't do that. I said, I can tell you what. And then it was like, oh, this is really good Pinot Noir. I said, yeah, told you. It's amazing. Doing
a bottle of that with friends would be very, well, wouldn't take long, but it's quite peculiar, actually. I find the taste of this.
Are you having to work
like in an unbelievably enjoyable way? But I'm like, just because I can't place it.
Are you working this afternoon?
Sorry, my phone's going. I'd like to say that I'm in huge demand, but it's just family members just saying you about. Yeah, can I just give us one big glug? Mm. It's curious to me. I don't know what it is, but I really love it. And it hangs around for a while. And that's what you want in a wine. Well, most of the time, unless it tastes like Nat's piss, and then you want it out of your system, Rick.
That length and persistence.
Length. Yeah. What's it again? Complexity. These are things of a great wine. Balance.
Length.
Check. Thank you.
Intensity.
I can be.
And complexity.
Yes. All of those things. This has, apart from, it's complex. I don't think it's balanced as well as it could be.
Which is lacking, the fruit or the acidity?
I think the fruit.
Okay.
And I think the acidity is fine. But then you remember, you're so experienced. I'm like a lollipop man in this field.
No, I know what you are, a Chianti Classico.
Or maybe you're the lollipop man, really, because you're ushering these children into your world and just trying for them not to get knocked over by a Californian Pinot that they can't even describe.
Seems like
I love it. I really do.
You and Reese.
How much are you talking? How much are you talking about this? Like, I would put probably like 12 quid on a Riesling. Bit more, shade more.
A bit more around the 20-ish pound mark. It's a very historic winery.
Okay. But you're going to give it away on this program for 12 quid. Thank you. Everyone's going to love you for that, Joe. And fine, I'll take the hit. And the Pinot, probably the same mark.
Similar mark, yes, absolutely.
Similar mark, 20 quid.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Bear in mind, that Riesling, that winery started making wine in about 820.
What? Why doesn't it have that on the front cover? Like, by the way, I started making wine at 820. Like we wouldn't be able to stop putting that on. If that was an English company, we'd have a crown mark there, Bosch, and it embossed, and then it would 820 emblazoned on the front with pride. This lot,
820.
Maybe they're not proud of their German heritage. I don't know.
Oh no, they're incredibly proud of their German heritage. They made wine for Charles the Great, or as we should call him, Karl der Große.
I always do. Yeah.
Charlemagne.
Karl der Große. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? And so, what do they just bang out Riesling there, or do they have other things? Because German wine, let's face it, a lot of wonderful people like yourself who are in the knowledge think that German wine is some of the greatest.
Oh. When it comes to Riesling,
that's the campus you've ever been, but I love it. You're the bit underlying exactly. Oh, forget about it.
No, don't. Darling, don't. No, it's amazing. How do you bring this out in me? I sort of walk around and I strut like a proud Yorkshireman, and then I sit in with you and I'm like, oh no, I'm being theatrical.
Listen, it's because it's because you work with Reese, Purefoy, and me, and now Mr. West, and basically we're all a bunch of lushes, and we get a bit fruity. We've trod the boards. Hello, love. Morning, darling.
Yes.
It stems ostensibly, I think, originally because it's very difficult to remember every single person's name that you continually work with. So, hello, love, is where it comes from.
Is that really true?
I would say so, probably, if you're continually working, and I don't know. So it's us. It's not you. It's us. It's a form of osmosis. We're bringing it out. I really like that, Joe. And anyway, now this. I was so pleased. Can I tell you why? Also, I love it when someone sends me a bottle and it's half finished already. Well, but I thought it's probably because you decanted it.
That's the other half.
There it is. It's like a locket that's coming back together again. I love you.
The two of us.
Now this is an important wine for me because my father used to give me Madeira on Christmas Day. He's no longer with us. He hasn't been for quite a long time, unfortunately, since I was 24 or 5. Mm-hmm. I blocked it out. So yeah, we would get woken up on Christmas Day. You'd fill your stocking at the end of the shit, and your dad would come in with a thimble, slightly more than a thimble, a thimble full of, from the age of sort of 7 or 8, and we'd open our stockings with a little glass of Madeira in the morning, possibly Victorian. But yes, I know. So Madeira for me. It's very special, and I've just banged out a bottle of this previously that I bought in Waitrose because I felt a little I felt a pang of not seeing my mom and not being at home, and Madeira is kind of like, my wife thinks I'm utterly bizarre, but I have it at room temperature. Should I be chilling it? It's quite nice.
I chill it a bit. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, you chill it down a bit
in the fridge.
My father used to chill it down a bit, but there was never enough room in our fridge. So here we go, and I'm going to give myself a damn. I think Madeira is one of the great wines of the world. I'm not going to lie to you, and I think people put it into the same bracket, obviously, as sherry, and that's okay if they want to do that. But for me, Madeira is a much greater. It's a much better drink. It has much more complexity to it, and almost indestructible. Mm. I mean, you can see bottles. You can see those wonderful old things like 1884 on it, and you can still buy these bottles. Not too expensive either, and I do occasionally.
Well, it's funny you should say that. This is
Joe. This better not be one of those ones that's really dry, like a dry sherry that I could kind of go, yeah, that makes me wince. I sound like Birdman, like what's his name from Birdman?
Well, you have it. This is from H.M. Borges.
That's awesome. Yes.
And we visited H.M. Borges, or we visit H.M. Borges in series 3.
Oh, yeah.
But not only do we go and visit them, but Matthew Clairmont has a famous bottle of their 1862 in his cellar.
I mean, what a character I'm playing. Of course he does. It's the only thing well, if you can't get enough, because he stopped feeding on humans. So if you've got to stop feeding on humans, you need something that tries to convince you that you're getting something a bit of a woof different.
And curiously, I've had not the 18.
I like it because it's not too.
No.
Yeah.
It's not too sweet, is it?
Not too sweet. No. It takes you down. It takes you away.
It does. We had, when we visited them, the 1862 was made from grapes and wines made before the house was founded. So it's a bit of a legend wine. But when we were there, they let us have, Amelia and I both had a taste of the 1877 from the year they were founded. And when you said it's indestructible, 1877 is not that old in Madeira years.
No, it's not. But I mean, how did it taste?
It was extraordinary. It was like this, but more marmitey. It was much more concentrated.
Much more viscous.
Yeah.
I would imagine as well. It's like, I mean, it's got a lovely viscosity to it anyway.
So this is their 20-year-old.
It doesn't swill around the glass in the same way.
Have you got a white surface nearby?
A white surface?
Yeah. If you hold it up against something whitish, can you see the green?
You get a green hue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a dead giveaway for old Madeira.
What a good tip, Joe.
So if you're ever doing a blind tasting and somebody gives you something and you can see that green hue in a kind of tawny coloured wine, old Madeira, always.
Oh, it really does. That was so. So that hue. What is the hue? Where does that incandescent kind of look come from? Then is it just a trick of the light?
It's aging and over time. And the extraordinary thing that it spends lots of time in barrels. And we did some maths because they reuse the barrels. But the barrels themselves are made from ships that had come from the United States because they're American oak and they get reused. So we were working out, if you sort of go back through a barrel being reused, several times, and then it having been a ship and then it having come across, sometimes the wood that will have aged that could well have been from certainly in the 18th century and possibly even a tree that was growing in the 17th century.
Isn't that great?
It's absolutely.
I love that bit of history. Sort of giving back. What giving to one, giving back, giving one, sort of going both ways. I love it. So this is what grapes do they use for Madeira?
There are 4.
Oh, hey, good. I've got 5 on my. Okay, I've only got 4 fingers on a hand, so it's perfect.
There are 4 noble varieties and then there's 1 extra. So if you just see Madeira and it's kind of rich or so on, some of the sort of basic Madeiras, they all come from one called Tinta Negra Mol.
Yeah.
Then the 4 classic ones, you start with Cercial, also known as...
Yeah, that's the one I know, I think, Cercial.
Bone dry. And Ashgonacau means the dog strangler. Because it's so dry, it would strangle a dog.
Well, that's Matthew Rees then. If each of these grapes is a presenter, bone dry and called whatever it is, that's Matthew Rees. So we're going to have to get ourselves T-shirts made for season 4. So what's he going to be called again? Sati?
Ashgonacau, Cercial. All right, mate. Please, your Cercial. Yeah. There's Verdeu, which is medium, sort of slightly drier, slightly less dry.
You say debut?
Verdeu.
Verdeu. Well, let's call it Verdebut, and that can be Westy.
That can be Westy.
Yeah.
We've then got Boal, which is half sweet.
That's got to be purified. And then I'm taking a big punt that the next one doesn't rhyme with the word I just last used. Okay.
And then you can be Malmsey.
Malmsey's fine. I mean, I am. I mean, drown me in a butt of Malmsey.
That's where it comes from.
Do you know, wasn't the character who did that in Richard III was called Tyrrell?
Tyrrell?
Tyrrell was the guy who drowned, was the name of the character that drowned the princes in a butt of Malmsey.
That was it, wasn't it? Yeah.
In Richard III.
They were the Duke of Clarence, is that right? And that's
Duke of Clarence.
Yeah.
Unless I've got that wrong, I don't know. I thought that was right. Tyrrell, yeah.
There was a question at one point.
They actually had some domain de Remini Conti who was like, no, fuck that. We're not wasting that on the prince. We're going to drink and then we'll just fill it with Malmsey and put his feet in there and put the lid on. Bosh.
I tell you, a bizarre fact. They considered giving Prince Harry and Meghan the title, the Duke and Duchess of Clarence. It was one of the ones that they were thinking of giving.
They should have done that, surely.
However,
then I guess it's tainted with the idea. I mean, I wouldn't imagine that she would have liked that very much, because you can get a little bit. You could think that might happen to you, basically. Well, title.
There's that, but also there is is it the Clevedon Street scandal? There was a Duke of Clarence who was the son of Queen Victoria, and
Yes.
he was involved in a scandal in a naughty house. Just
Jimmy Purefoy, but it happened a lot. It was an awfully long time ago. And,
it was 19th century scandal. So yeah, they decided to go for Sussex instead.
Can I say I've had to refill that because I'm not enjoying it so much. But obviously, this is a very good thing about Madeira is it's cracking with a cheese plate. I mean, it's made for it, and chill it, put it on a cheese plate, introduce it to people because it's a wine that should be better known. Well,
it's bringing back Proustian memories for you.
It certainly is. Many volumes back. Have you ever read Proust?
No, God no. You mad?
Some people hold it up. I mean, no, I'm not mad. I know I seem it. I blame it on the Madeira. But I think it's one of those things that people hold as they wear it as a badge. I've read all of Proust, and you go, oh God, I don't want to have a drink with you.
Do you know?
You can have some. They come to your party, like give him the crap claret.
For the last 4 weeks of his life, he consumed nothing but black coffee, cigarettes, and champagne.
That's going to be on my epitaph.
I can see it. Look, I'm going to say that has been so much fun.
Oh, same here. But also, listen, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Yes.
Now, behind you, take us through a little of the. I seem to recognise a few things. I don't know what's special behind there.
What is special?
When you bring out Floella Benjamin and lower down, you go, I've got Floella Benjamin down here. Hello, Flo, what are you doing there?
Series 1, Vineyard Vic.
That's good stuff. It's slightly overrated and expensive, but it's still good there, isn't it?
Madeira, H&H, Terrantes, which is their the fifth great variety, which you don't see very much, quite rare.
That's very nice.
Who else?
Oh, Joe, bless you for entertaining. Thank you for doing this because actually it's exciting.
Sherry.
It's quite exciting. Sherry, I love sherry. Now that's probably I like to be warned if a sherry is dry. Does that make sense? Because when I think of sherry, I mean, my mother brought us up on Croft Original, which is not what I would call sherry. And look, she enjoyed it, and she enjoyed the Dubonian lemonade, and okay, that's not that special, Joe.
Grand
unless it's dedicated to you.
Well, we'll have this. We're going to run out of time. We're going to have to say goodbye.
Okay, who cares? Edit it out. What else is in there?
It's running out of time. It's running out of time on the machine. I didn't pay for a subscription.
Okay. I don't know how this works. All right, love.
Send us a cheers.
It's been a pleasure. I'll see
you again soon.
Yes. Cheers to you. I love you very much. Let's do this again with James Purefoy and other people. It'll be a nightmare, Zooming, everyone talking over each other, but it could be fireworks.
I love it. Mwah.
You are Catherine Wheel, and we shall light you. Cheers!
Bye.
Bye, darling.